This lesson we'll be looking at forks, and specifically we'll be looking at knight forks. As we talked about before, forks are simply a tactic used to attack multiple pieces at one time with one piece. We've looked at pawn forks, now we're looking at knight forks. So taking a look at the board, it'll be black's turn to fork first, so we're looking at this black knight. And so we're looking to see where that black knight can go to attack multiple white pieces. So take a second and look at the board, and let's see where that knight can jump to. Okay, that knight jumps there and is now attacking this rook, this king, and this rook, attacking all three pieces at once. And since the king is in danger, the king will have to get out of check. And when the king moves out of check, the knight has the option of taking either one of these rooks, but only one of them is currently free, and so the knight takes the free one. Okay, so also on this board we'll flip it for you, and white has a fork that he could perform. So now we're looking at this knight right here. Where can that knight jump to attack black's pieces, in this case the king and the queen? So again, pretty easy. The knight jumps to that square and is now attacking the queen and the king. And since again the king is in danger, he'll have to move, and when he does, the queen is gone. Okay, so those were two examples of knight forks. Black went first and then white. So now let's look at a little more advanced example. A couple more pieces on the board. In this case, it is white's turn to move. So we're looking for the knight for white, which is right there. And so where can that knight move to perform a pretty nasty fork? Again, take a second, examine the board and see what you come up with. Okay, you might have seen that if this knight moves here, he's now attacking the rook, the king, and the queen. Okay, again, attacking three pieces at one time. And just like our last example, since the king is in danger, once he moves, the queen would be gone. Okay, a little bit more advanced example, a couple more pieces, and now we'll look at our last example. And this one is definitely more advanced. Let me flip the board for you to give you proper perspective. Okay, this time we're playing as black. So what we notice in this position is, here's our knight that we're going to use for the fork, and we see that the knight could immediately attack this rook. But that's actually not what we want to do. We're looking for a more powerful attack than that, a more powerful fork. And that's actually not a fork, that's just an attack. So we're looking for a powerful fork. So what are the possibilities in this case? We see that if this knight was to move here, then he would be attacking the king, but he wouldn't be attacking anything else. So a fork attacks two pieces or multiple pieces at once. In that case, it's just one, so that's not the fork. But we can see that if this knight was to jump here, that he'd be attacking the king, as we see, but if the queen was on this square, he'd also be attacking that queen and would be forking them. So how can we force the queen onto that square? Well, here's what we can do. If black puts its rook down there, you see that the rook is threatening the king, and so the king is in check, and the king can't move anywhere because all of these squares are being attacked, and he can't get out because his pawns are blocking him. So he has nowhere to go, but the queen has to help out. So when the queen takes a rook, again the queen had no options there. Now we see that the fork that we were looking for before is set up by this knight. Knight hops into the appropriate position, and now is attacking the queen and the king. And again, as we saw for all our previous examples, when the king has to get out of danger, king moves there, knight takes queen, and the fork is complete. So that those are a couple examples of knight forks. I think all the examples we had were forks against the enemy king, but it doesn't have to be a fork. A knight fork could be against a queen and a rook, or two rooks, or a queen and the bishop. It can be against several different pieces. It just so happens that all the ones we looked at were against the enemy king. But again, knight forks, pretty simple tactic, but also a very powerful tactic, and can often be overlooked because of the unusual way that knights move. Okay, thanks for watching.